borderline gun collectors association, are typical of many legitimate, family-owned businesses in the firearms industry being persecuted by the ATF, while real criminals go unpunished. 6 carloads of ATF agents, accompanied by at least 2 members of the Internal Revenue Service and 2 troopers from the Pennsylvania State Police, converged suddenly on the Lamplugs' residence. The couple's oldest son John, who lives a few miles away, had just finished turkey hunting on his dad's property and was stowing a shotgun in a truck when agents surrounded him, brandishing weapons. Harry Lamplug said he believes if the agents had arrived a few moments earlier and seen John holding a weapon, they would have shot his son. Harry Lamplug was in his pajama bottoms, drinking a cup of coffee, and his wife was in the bathroom, when the phalanx of agents entered from the front and rear. All were armed, only 2 wore clearly marked uniforms. When Lamplug realized they were law enforcement agents, he asked for a search warrant. "Shut the fuck up, you motherfucker," shouted ATF agent Sealer, "you want more trouble than you've already got." Meanwhile, over at John Lamplug's, the youngest brother, Bronson, a college student, was just getting up when agents burst in. He was searched at gunpoint and interrogated as to why he had more than $500 in cash in his possession. The incident so upset him that Bronson took a leave of absence from college and seldom visits home anymore. Back at the parents' home, the outrages continued. Fearing for their lives, the couple cooperated, voluntarily opening combination safes, lock boxes, and gun cabinets. Harry asked repeatedly for a search warrant. Agents said they didn't have to show him one until they left. He asked if he was under arrest and they said no. Yet the Lamplugs were held all day at gunpoint in their night clothes, much of the time at the breakfast table by a nervous young agent with a submachine gun pointed at their heads. They were not allowed to call their attorney or answer the phone, and could only go and use the bathroom with an armed guard. Only at the one point during the day-long ordeal did Harry Lamplug get any inkling of what the intruders might be looking for, when one agent asked him about the location of an alleged machine gun. Lamplug told the agent he'd never owned a fully automatic weapon. That he had once a Vietnam commemorative golden-laid semi-auto Thompson, but it had been sold. All the while, the agents continued to make what the Lamplug's attorney, Robert E. Sanders, characterized in one federal court document as outrageous and extremely offensive remarks. At one point, the motion for return of property alleges, ATF Special Agents, gun show promoter, wisecracked, "We don't mind you selling guns to niggers, because they are only killing each other." The eldest Lamplug's son, John, was finally told he was free to go. He asked for the currency, $2,000, that had been removed from his wallet and vehicle. "You'll have to fucking prove it's yours," IRS agent Bittenbender snapped. John Lamplug left, poorer but wiser about the caliber of public servants his tax dollars employ. Inside, an agent removed $30 in cash and a grocery list from Terry Lamplug's coat pocket. She could have the money back, the grinning agent sneered, if she could rattle off the serial numbers for the bills. Finding candy bars on the Lamplug's dresser, agents ate them, tossing the wrappers. Harry had ordered a new truck, which he was scheduled to pick up that morning. The paperwork and $10,000 in cash were in an envelope on the dresser. It was all confiscated. Bittenbender found $1,500 Terry had squirreled away for cosmetic surgery in her pantyhose drawer. When she complained it wasn't right for them to take the money, he threatened her, "We'll see how cooperative you are when we throw you in a cell full of lesbians." When the agents left, the Lamplugs clutched each other and stared out the window terrified. As they watched in horror, Special Agent Donna J. Slusser paused in the yard by a Manx kitten, which bounded playfully at her feet. Slusser looked back at the Lamplugs, then turned and stomped the pet several times, kicking it into the nearby shrubbery. The kitten died from ruptured organs, a veterinarian autopsy revealed. Inside, all sorts of jewelry, and some valuable watches were taken, some still new in the box, some of which did not show up on the ATF seized property list. Personal mail was opened and taken, along with miscellaneous paperwork, including certificates of authenticity for firearms and other valuable collectibles, pet registrations, vehicle titles, insurance policies, wills, a marriage license, birth and baptismal certificates, adoption papers, Harry's military service record, he's a Vietnam vet, and vital medical documents. Also seized were 61 firearms with an appraised value of $15,016, plus more than $20,000 in cash. Agents additionally confiscated records of Borderline Gun Collectors Association, the largest gun show promotion business in the northeastern U.S. Without this paperwork, it has been extremely difficult for the lamplugs to pursue their livelihood. Seized business records included names and addresses of about 70,000 past and present members, from all 50 states and several foreign countries, as well as names and addresses of more than 600 advertising contacts and all contracts for future gun shows through the year 2000. Sanders, a retired head of ATF's law enforcement operations who now specializes in gun law, thinks the IRS may have been the primary agency pushing the raid, and the ATF helped out because the IRS could not develop probable cause. Sanders feels allegations of an illegal weapon were trumped up as an excuse as probable cause for ATF. The whole raid and seizures amount to a fishing expedition, he said. The first objective was for all these financial records, so the IRS can attempt to make some kind of a case against Lamplug, Sanders told Soldier of Fortune. The second objective was obviously to seize all the names and addresses of the people who participated in the gun shows, who belong to the association and who attend gun shows. I can't think of any good purpose for this. All of these people are exercising their constitutional right to assemble, to speak with people who have common interests. I can't think of any legitimate reason why ATF would want that kind of information. This is the very type of thing that the 1968 Gun Control Act went overboard to prevent. ATF is not supposed to keep records of any firearms transactions. Aside from its vulgar and barbaric aspects, the Lamplugs case is illustrative of an apparent trend in ATF cases in other key respects. First, as in the John Lawmaster case, the Lamplug search warrant affidavit remained sealed 11 months after the raid, ostensibly to protect a confidential source, but more likely to hide the fact that the flimsiest pretexts were used to meet probable cause. In the Lamplug case, when Sanders filed a motion to unseal the affidavit, his motion was then sealed by the court. I was never notified by the court that my motion was sealed, he said. Sealing warrant affidavits is routinely abused, Sanders said. There should be a real need. Generally, prior to the execution of a search warrant, there's a good purpose, to prevent the destruction of evidence before they get there with a warrant. After the warrant is served, the reason they always give is to protect their source. But that's not a good reason. That doesn't override the constitutional guarantee to know your accuser. Second, as in the Louis Catona case, more on him later, extensive amounts of property were seized without criminal charges being filed. In the Lamplug case, much of that property is apparently unrelated to anything in the search warrant. In all such cases, if the owner doesn't have a $2,500 bond to file with the feds to fight the forfeiture, he loses the property, no questions asked. Third, in the case of gun dealers and gun show promoters such as the Lamplugs, the search is a convenient excuse to copy records that the 1968 Gun Control Act clearly states are the property of the owner. It's all part of an apparently illegal campaign by ATF to compile a computerized database of gun owners, gun buyers, and gun dealers in a de facto gun registration effort, all the while conveniently ignoring the fact that criminals almost never buy or sell guns legally. The ATF's new firearms tracing center in West Virginia is de facto gun registration, Sanders said. No one outside the ATF really knows what they're doing at that center. The only thing that they can be doing is entering all the information that is obtained from business records, that is de facto gun registration. This type of activity, in general, bolsters the long institutional bias against private gun ownership, to the extent that ATF more often ignores real criminals, to try to turn law-abiding gun owners into criminal statistics? I think citizens are helpless, he said, matter-of-factly. It's going to take congressional action. It's going to take strong oversight and massive changes in ATF management. Meanwhile, the lamplugs wage their personal war against injustice by surviving, trying to keep their business going so they can continue to generate the money needed to wage their legal battle. Harry has been twice called to a federal grand jury, Terry once. Both have been forced to submit fingerprints, sit for photographs and submit handwriting samples. As of this writing in April, neither have been charged. As always, ATF investigators continue to play dirty. At least 4 grand jury witnesses told statements read to the grand jury were not the same statements they gave ATF agents about the lamplug case. One witness who gave permission to use his name, Tommy Griffith, said ATF agents tried to intimidate him prior to his testimony to change his statement, and tried to coach him on what to say. Mr. Sealer didn't want to show me his identification card, Griffith said. He told me he was the one who stuck a machine gun in Harry's mouth. Scott and he served me my subpoena. They told me perjury was a federal offense, that if I stuck with my story that I could go to jail. I wasn't telling them what they wanted to hear, which was the truth, so they were trying to intimidate me. Andy wanted me and him and the United States Attorney to sit down and discuss my testimony before going to the grand jury. I told them the only people I was talking to were the ones on the grand jury. Even if the worst is over, and the lamplugs aren't sure that it is, they continue to live in fear of the terror tactics still wielded anonymously against them. They're not sure who the perpetrators are, but they have a pretty good idea. Much of the harassment has been over the phone. One caller told Terry Lamplug that she has really nice pantyhose, but you don't have any tits. Right after an appearance on the G. Gordon Liddy show, a 0300 call warned them, "Don't fuck with the feds. You people have to learn to button your lips or else you're dead." The telephone threats are easy to cope with compared to knowing Terry Lamplug has been stalked and harassed by people she is certain are either federal agents or their informants. She found one man in her yard, rummaging through her sports car. When she faced him with a handgun, he left and she followed. The prowler drove up next to a white Ford Bronco with US government plates, and then the two drove off together. The most terrifying incident, though, happened October 11, 1994, almost 5 months after the raid. Terry was running errands, and as she returned to her van, she noticed a scruffy-looking man who, she said, appeared to be drunk. She drove on to the drugstore and hospital to get cancer medicine for Harry. When she came out, she saw the same seedy man, leaning against a wall smoking a cigarette. When she opened the door and started to get in, the man suddenly appeared at her elbow. "Don't fuck with the bureau," he growled softly in her ear as she whirled around, startled. He spun on his heel, she said, and called over his shoulder as he hurried away, "Check out what's in your van." She jumped inside, slammed and locked the door and began to scream and tremble with rage. Then she steeled herself, deciding it was only another case of cheap intimidation. She could take it, she couldn't wait to get home and tell Harry. She was just about there, bumping up the rutted dirt road when, as she wheeled into the driveway, her grocery bags over